two students called Christina and Dan
You will hear two students called Christina and Dan
preparing for a seminar presentation on
preparing for a seminar presentation
the topic of recognizing
on the topic of
why and when people tell lies.
recognizing why and when people tell lies.
So did you find anything interesting when you were doing the research?
So, did you find anything interesting when you were doing the research?
Well, I read a good article about children lying.
Well, I read a good article about children lying.
It makes the point that parents in all cultures
It makes the point that the parents in all countries
tell their children off if they're dishonest.
tell their children off if they're dishonest.
They say you mustn't tell lies.
They say you mustn't tell lies.
However, when children are about 6,
However, when children are about 6,
they start to realize that parents lie too.
they start to realize that parents lie too.
How?
How?
Well, parents might say to a child,
Well, parents might say to a child,
if your little sister wants another biscuit,
if your little sister wants another biscuit,
we should tell her that they're all finished.
we should tell her that they are finished.
So, learning to lie is something that children are taught to
So, learning to lie is something that children are taught
do by their parents.
to do by their parents.
So that's dishonest, isn't it?
So that's dishonest, isn't it?
In a way,
In a way.
but the parents probably don't see it as lying.
But the parents probably don't see it as lying.
They're trying to get the child to do what they want.
They're trying to get the child to do what they want.
The thing is that then
The thing is that then
the child starts lying to get what he or she wants.
the child starts lying to get what he or she wants. Too.
So when children lie,
So when children lie,
we should actually see this as a normal part of their development.
we should actually see this as a normal part of their development.
Right.
Right.
That seems like a good point to include in the presentation.
That seems like a good point to include in the presentation.
One of the things I was interested in is people telling white lies.
One of the things I was interested in is people telling white lies.
You know, small lies to make other people feel better.
You know, small lies to make other people feel better.
According to one survey,
According to one survey,
it seems that women tell about 30 white lies a day, whereas men tell about 8.
it seems that women tell about 30 white lies a day, whereas men tell about 8.
It won't come as a surprise that people tell white lies
It won't come as a surprise that people tell white lies
to make other people feel more positive,
to make other people feel positive,
but we should mention the number of lies.
but we should mention the number of lies.
That will be surprising to people.
That would be surprising to people.
What else did you find interesting?
What else did you find interesting?
Professor Miller mentioned body language,
Professor Miller mentioned body language.
didn't she?
Didn't she?
If someone keeps moving from foot to foot,
You know, if someone keeps moving from foot to foot,
or has their arms folded across their chest.
or has their arms folded across their chest,
Psychologists used to say
psychologists used to say
that's a sure sign of lying, but now we know that's not true.
that's a sure sign of lying, but now we know that's not true.
So if people are looking for those kinds of body language signals,
So if people are looking for those kinds of body language signals,
they may completely misunderstand what's going on.
they may completely misunderstand what's going on.
Yes, especially because gestures have different meanings
Yes, especially because gestures have different meanings
in different cultures.
in different cultures.
For example, a lack of eye contact might be a sign of respect, not of dishonesty.
For example, a lack of eye contact might be a sign of respect, not of dishonesty.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What about people lying online?
What about people lying online?
You know, someone posts a fake review of a restaurant they've never actually been to.
You know, someone posts a fake review of a restaurant they never actually been to.
Well, apparently there is a problem with people writing fake reviews.
Well, apparently there is a problem with people writing fake news, fake reviews.
But the thing is, journalists
But the thing is,
are always writing about it and saying how awful the situation is.
journalists are always writing about it and saying how awful the situation is,
When
when actually,
according to Professor Edwards, it's
according to Professor Edwards,
just a small minority of people that do this.
just a small minority of people that do this.
So, just newspaper hysteria?
So, just newspaper hysteria?
Right. So, shall we say something about being dishonest at university?
Right. So, we shall say something about being dishonest at university.
You mean pretending you wrote something when really you just copied it from somewhere?
You mean pretending you wrote something when you really just copy it from somewhere?
Yes.
Yes,
That's really serious.
that's really serious.
Like, if you get caught, you might be asked to leave the course.
Like, if you get caught, you might be asked to leave the course.
I don't think everyone knows that tutors have software programs
I don't think everyone knows that tutors have software programs
that only take a few seconds to identify whether the work is yours
that only take a few seconds to identify whether the work is yours
or whether you've copied something.
or whether you copy something.
Okay, why don't we start with that point?
Okay, why don't we start with that point?